or roof inspection?
Gridiron, guys. Leroy.
Please don't shake like that again.
Leroy, why you hating? Why you gotta hate on me? Don't hate.
You got things moving around I can't unsee.
You are a hater, Leroy. I bring you in. I'm loving you. I'm nice to you, and you're just hating on me. That's inappropriate.
I'm a lover of certain body parts, just not on dudes.
Well, listen, you got to be secure in your masculinity, not worry about it, man. You know, it's all right. I'm comfortable with my jiggliness. That's fine. You got to deal with it, my friend. Anyway, I was so out of it Monday. Was Leroy on Monday or Tuesday?
He was on Monday. He was on Monday.
I don't know if you heard. I'll tell the story really quick. Did you hear why I wasn't here? Well, I was supposed to be on vacation, but I was in the hospital Saturday because I had a kidney stone stuck. Stuck. Have you ever had a kidney stone?
No. No.
Well, you say that as if you're in good shape. That means you can't get a kidney stone. It has nothing to do with how good a shape you're in.
Dude, you got to keep hydrated.
I drink water all the time.
What else do you drink? Sodas?
Nothing. No soda. Never.
Okay.
Except if I'm nauseous, I drink ginger ale. That's it. But otherwise, I don't drink soda at all. No.
Are you a coffee drinker?
I only drink water. Unless I'm nauseous, I drink ginger ale. And once a year or twice a year when I go to a Jewish deli in New York City, I'll have a black cherry soda. If not, I only drink water.
Dr. Brown's.
Dr. Brown's. Damn right. Damn right, Dr. Brown's. Yes. But, okay, so I was like totally out of it because the kidney stone was stuck between my kidney and my bladder. It was the worst pain I've ever had in my life. It was crazy.
Right.
Anyway, yeah. I was on Oxy for a couple of days. I was flying high. But but I'm doing bad. But anyway, you know, today's my first chance to kind of talk about the whole situation. And I think, you know, Brad talked about the fact that nobody's happy. I think the Watson supporters arguing he did zero wrong are being silly. Clearly he did something wrong here. That's obvious. Mm-hmm. I think also the people on the other side are going too far because the anti-Watson people equate inappropriate sexual behavior, which I think is what happened here, with rape and beating up women. And I think there are levels to it. I think the suspension's appropriate. I think we all do at this point. Mm-hmm. What do you think?
I think it is what it is. Whether you think it's not severe enough or you think it's or whether you think it's too much. You voted for a process. That process took its course, and we are where we are. To sit now, and what I love about people is you blame the parties for the process. And if you have a problem with the process, you need to take care of that before these situations present themselves.
Very fair.
Otherwise, you got to live with the process. We do this with politics all the time. Like, we complain about the decisions that are made, and I'm like, if you have a problem with the decisions these people are making, put somebody else in office.
That's right.
Don't complain after they make these decisions. And so we have the NFLPA and we have the NFL that agreed to a system to go to an arbiter, to go to Sue Robinson, to take all of the information and come up with a punishment. The punishment does not have to be fair to either side. It does not have to be just to either side. But what she did was took the information and came up with what she felt the punishment should be. Now, this is the process that both parties agreed on. I still am a little bit nervous that one of the parties can come in and say, we don't like it, and make the punishment what they want.
Right.
That's the part that would bother me. I think that, look, anytime money is involved, and I don't say this, I'm not talking about innocence or guilt, okay? Anytime money is involved, it is the job of the people representing you to get as much money as possible. When you do that, you have to make the story look as bad as possible so that either the other party will settle or that they will lose in civil court. And so what we're getting lost in right now is the fact that these young ladies had a representative that did just that. That he went through all the avenues to make this situation look as bad as possible so he could get the most for his clients. That's why they included the Texans. That's why they went after everybody. Which, if you ever need a representation, you want your lawyer to do the same thing. I don't have a problem with that. But let's not make it sound like we know all the facts. Still, we don't know what happened. And I would say that if all these cases were legitimate and all these cases had some merit, why when they presented it to Sue Robinson, they brought 4 people? Because if you want the case to look, as strong as possible, and you got 25 or 26 women, that are claiming there was some things that were done that shouldn't have been done, and all 26 women came, then we're having a whole different conversation, are we not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But because only not even a quarter of the women came and testified, to me, like, I'm not saying Deshaun Watson didn't do anything. Please don't misunderstand what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that the case that we have been talking about for the last year, okay, when it gets to crunch time and all the accusers that you say you have are dwindled down to 4, do you have a different impression of what was actually going on here? Because I think I do. I do, simply because that. Now, again, even if it's 4 women and there was something where Deshaun Watson didn't do what he was supposed to do, that's too many. So don't get me wrong there. But what I'm saying, for the purposes of where we are today with a 6-game suspension, hearing about all these women, and then when it gets to the moment of truth, where you can come in and tell your story, it goes from all these women to 4. You have to take that into account. Because if it were no women, if he had settled with everybody and they chose not to come in and speak to the NFL, would that mean that now he has no suspension? Because nobody got access to the women? I don't know. So right now, I'm like this. Let's everybody be done with this and move on. Deshaun Watson needs somebody close to him to have that conversation. We all know what that conversation is. That conversation where you've been doing things a certain way, and you need somebody close to you put you in check to let you know what's been going on with you in your life is not the right way to go about things. However, whoever it comes from, it's got to come from somebody who he trusts. And then we move forward. Because, like, to sit here after the fact, one of the things I hate is we have a legal system in place. We have all these circumstances and situations that are dealt with in a court accordingly. And then after it's all taken care of, everybody sits back and complains about the result. You can't, when it's done, that's not the time to complain about the results. You see what I'm saying? When it's time to complain about the results is before this situation presents itself. Right. You have something in place that that will, satisfy everybody in your, in your world or in your environment or whoever you're trying to satisfy. So you can't look. I don't care who it is. Nobody's gonna look good in this situation. Okay, and so stop trying to come out of this situation looking good. It is a stain. It is unfortunate. We all have to do what we can, including Deshaun Watson, the Cleveland Browns, the NFL. We have to do something to make sure that these things don't happen again. But you can't do it as you go.
Well said, Leroy. Well said.
G?
Well, Leroy, I talk about this a little bit, and I'm going to ask you because you're a former player. Only for me looking on the inside, looking in, I think some people have this thought process that, if it's Deshaun Watson, it's not just Deshaun Watson. That's not an isolated incident, right? There's a lot of different individuals, African Americans, who seem to go through the judicial process or go through a certain process, and the outcomes are never enough. They're never enough. Deshaun Watson got 6 games. People said if you would just maybe if you would just say you did it, or maybe if you pay all the people off, we'll say it's okay. Maybe go to arbitration and say it's okay. As a player, is it pertinent to go talk to young African American men and just be real with them and just say, look, man, in this game, you're not gonna get a fair shake. It ain't happening. If they catch you, they gonna get you.
G. Bush, you should know that by now. Look at the world. We are fully aware of that. Like, stop. We can't be that naive. Like, what we want the situations to be and what they are, you just have to be aware of it. And I think most people are aware of what the circumstances are for a black man in the United States. I think people are fully aware of that. So the fact that somebody needs to come and talk to you, nobody's been that naive. I'm gonna tell you where I grew up in the 9th ward of New Orleans. I left New Orleans knowing what's up. You see what I'm saying? So everybody didn't come from Boca in South Florida. Okay? Some people came from, we see stories all the time where they came from, how they made it through, how they got to college, graduated from college, played the NFL, did something with their life. Everybody's fully aware of the circumstances in which you walk the face of this earth. Now, you can go about it one or two ways. You don't have to be dragged down by it. I was always told, don't let the circumstances in which you came into this world change how you live your life. Okay? But you do have to be aware. Mm-hmm. You do have to be aware of situations that, could lead you down the wrong path or could get you in trouble that you don't need to be in. You get in a confrontation with a cop, what'd they tell you? Just get home. Yep. Just do whatever you can to get out of that situation and get home. We'll deal with it at a later date. Don't try to deal with it there. Because you ain't going to win there. You ain't going to win with a group full of cops in a situation. Deal with it when you get home. Talk about it. Do what you need to do then. But you're safe. Okay? We've all learned that lesson a long time ago. But one of the issues and one of the points that, I was thinking, as you were talking about that is let's think of all the people that got penalized or suspended. Okay? Because I'm thinking when Ben Roethlisberger, got what? We get 4 games? 6 games?
It was 6 and then it was appealed down to 4.
Yeah.
Okay. Ain't nobody say that wasn't enough.
I would disagree with that. There were people that was a while ago. There were people saying that. That was a long time ago.
And look, I do believe this. No matter what the circumstances are of an athlete getting in some trouble, it's never going to be enough.
Yep.
Because
That's
for
true.
some reason, until that person plays football, we are not very forgiving. You see what I mean? So everybody, whether you say they said it about Ben or Deshaun Watson or whatever, you look at some of the situations of people that have gotten in real trouble in the NFL, right? Soon as they had the opportunity to play football again, then everything seemed to die down. And for a society who admits to being some of the most forgiving people in the world,
No.
It's amazing to me that people aren't allowed in certain situations to fix things. My dad used to say, as long as you have a breath, you can fix it.
Hey Leroy, question for you.
Yeah.
Because now we start talking about how it affects your teammates. All right.
Right.
I watched the Browns for the last couple of days do a masterful job. I'm talking to players, dance around it and say, listen, I'm trying to get to football. And then when I take a poll of people, people ready to move on. They're like, you gave us the decision. Let's just get to it and move on.
We all want to move on. We don't want to talk about football.
The people that care about the Browns and just want to see football.
Well, I think
we all want that for our own guys.
I think in the public, and even in the public sphere, Tyvis, people still have no idea what really happened. You can't say definitively what really happened.
No.
Right? So
knows.
people are saying, okay, we went through the process. To Leroy's point, we went through the process. This is the process. Don't be mad at me because these are the rules that we all created and agreed to. This was how we're going to move forward.
Yeah.
Now that it's there, all right, let's abide by that and then move forward here.
Well, I think it's going to be a story until tomorrow.
Right. And then if the league does appeal, then it's going to continue again.
Well,
but if the league does not appeal, there'll still be some people angry. But I think for the most part, we will all
everybody
move on.
has to
Bull.
Yeah, right.
Bull.
Yeah.
Bull.
Yeah.
Let's be careful. Let's be careful because guess what? If you appeal, then you got to reveal what's in your closet.
Oh, I don't think they will appeal. You're right.
You see what I'm saying?
No, I agree.
Don't get so focused on what you can do to somebody else that you forget what could happen to you.
I agree, Leroy. I think the league would be making a major mistake in appealing because the league's got a ton of dirty laundry, a ton of legitimate things that the players' union can go after them for a variety of things, how owners get really I love when they say, well, Stephen Ross, they lost the first-round pick. That's somewhat of a penalty, sure. But, like, part of his penalty is he can't go to the owners' meetings. I mean, give me a break. What does that mean?
Hey, Bull.
Yes.
Hey, Bull. To his point, let me paint you a picture.
Yeah.
That's what I do. Let me paint you a picture. Let me get your emails for the last 10 years. Can I get all of the documentation on Colin Kaepernick? And as a matter of fact, what I would like to do in my discovery process, I would like to get Robert Kraft and on camera in a deposition, and I need him to describe what happened in Florida to see if the training wheels were the same, if the investigation was the same.
What about what's going on in Washington?
Can we get him, Daniel Snyder? I need you in front of a person.
Right.
This could be deadly.
Burn it down.
Well, and we didn't even mention Dallas. Earlier you mentioned all the racial angle of the concussion stuff, which to me is a huge deal, which has not been made much of. But that is, I mean, that is flat out racism, 100% slam dunk right there.
As I said earlier,
yeah.
The NFL here. Let me be clear. Owners have never been able to get out of their own way sometimes, right? And sometimes you may want to prove a point to your own detriment. The kids have a saying: "You want this smoke?" Because the NFLPA has laid down, we coming with some smoke, right? Because for one time, they have taken a position that I think they're going to lay it all on the table here. We've been waiting for you for years.
You're right.
Years for you.
Yes.
And so if you're going to come now, we coming. Right?
They're all in on this.
We're all in on this one here.
Hey,
right?
you know what? If you're a boxing fan, there's always that guy that have that wicked overhand right.
Yeah.
But he exposed the uppercut.
Yeah.
So when he come overhand right and that counter punch come underneath and hit him on the chin and he go night-night, he thought he was going to knock the other dude out.
Yeah.
Right? But you forgot to not let that guy in your kitchen.
That's right.
So
the league should leave
the
well
league
enough
has
alone
to be
here.
careful.
Right.
Yes, the league should leave well enough alone, guys. I think people look at
They have an escape clause. They have an escape clause because they can say, hey,
she did it.
we have this process.
Yes.
Although we're not happy with the result, we will honor the process in which we have agreed to with the NFLPA, and everybody wash their hands and go.
Yeah, because
nobody's going to blame the NFL.
Yeah, that's right. Leroy, last point, because I do want to hit some camp storylines with you before you go. But the bottom line is you're right. You're all right. Because the downside of the league appealing and the players' union going nuclear on them is much worse for the league than the downside of the people who are angry about this suspension. What are those people going to do? Some people are going to write articles, they're going to complain on Twitter, and 5 people won't go to games. It's a non-factor in reality. And so deal with that for a couple of days, and then as G would say, keep it moving. I think it's that simple.
Leroy, so the problem that some fans are having is how do they go about being a Browns fan while cheering for Deshaun Watson?
Bad guys
they feel uncomfortable.
Let me tell you how.
Tell them how they can.
The same way I did it as a player. You think I got along with all of my teammates? Hell no.
No chance.
Some of them I couldn't stand.
Oh, yeah.
And there were some who didn't like me.
Say it again,
I was
Leroy.
fine with that. But guess what? I learned a valuable lesson in professional sports. Separate the art from the artist.
That's right.
Okay?
That's right.
That guy that I just got in a fist fight with, if he go get a sack, I'm going to be first one on the field congratulating him. It don't mean I don't want to knock his ass out when we go outside the stadium. We do this all the time. How many times have we tried to cancel people in movies? And then a good movie come out and we go watch it.
Mm-hmm. Will Smith ain't going nowhere. Will Smith ain't going nowhere.
Right.
He'll be back.
Hey, look, put your big boy pants on, be an adult, and understand this. You not gonna get along with everybody.
No.
You not gonna like everybody. Everybody is not gonna be a pillar of society. It don't mean that you not gonna do business with them. It don't mean you not gonna watch them.
That's true.
Okay? How many people have we said, you know what? How many times have you gone to a restaurant and said, I got terrible service, but the food was good?
So let me.
Are you gonna stop? Are you gonna stop going to the restaurant because the waiter didn't treat you right?
That's right.
So to Leroy and Tyvus, I got a question. You know, sometime in this business we talk a lot about what we're going to do, right? Do you think the NFLPA is really ready to go to the mat here? Do you think they're ready to go?
I do.
You think they?
Yes.
So do you think that the league feels that they're ready to go to? Because sometimes they think you're bluffing.
I do.
I
think
tell you what, we're gonna find out tomorrow around 8:00 if they feel they bluffing or not.
Brad, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
You want to play that game of chicken if you Robert Kraft?
No reason.
You want to play that game of chicken if you Roger Goodell?
No.
Smart money would tell you to no.
Hey, Leroy, let me get to. I think this is an important question that fans want your take on.
Sure.
Deshaun Watson's been taking the majority of the snaps in camp so far. Yeah. Assuming the suspension stays at 6 games, if you were coaching the Browns, how would you split up the reps? Excuse me. Between the quarterbacks. Thank you.
If you would have sneezed on Monday, you would have got that stone right out your system. You're like, I'm good. Let me say this.
Yeah.
If I'm Kevin Stefanski, I'm getting Deshaun Watson as many reps as possible. You know why? He ain't played football in a year.
That's true.
So, big picture, I think he needs to get as many reps as possible. Okay? All the other quarterbacks are used to playing the role of a backup. They know how to get ready.
Great
Jacoby
point.
Brissett is a big boy. He know what's up.
It's a great point.
He'll be ready. And so, you prepare that way, understanding that you're going to get Jacoby Brissett some reps with the number ones. He's going to play a lot of the game in the preseason. Mm-hmm. You're going to get your other quarterbacks work. But Deshaun Watson has to play.
Great point.
Man, you know how hard it is to not play for a year and a half? And then think you're going to come back and just be QB1? The hardest job in sports? He got to get some reps. Has to. So, I'm not, the other guys will get an opportunity to play. But we trying to get ready for the season.
Yeah, you're right.
And once the season starts, Deshaun Watson is going to be MIA for 6 weeks.
Yep.
So you ain't going to really have no contact with him. He ain't going to be allowed to be in the meetings, to see the corrections, to see all the mistakes that guys are making. So he got to get that in now.
I heard he's going up to Michigan to practice with you Wolverines.
Oh, is he?
No, I'm just joking.
He was like, oh, for real?
They don't want him nowhere near Jim.
Look, I'm going to tell you this, Leroy, because, and I want people to focus on it. I think the first home game is next Friday. No, the first preseason game is next Friday.
Yep.
Then the following week is the first home game, right? So he has 3 preseason games to get this work in. So he's going to get a variety. He should be getting the brunt of the work.
Right. He gonna get probably, I would say, 20 to 25 plays each game. Maybe 2 or 3 series. And because guess what? Here's the other thing he has to do. He got to be able to get the call in the headphones.
Right.
He got to be able to make the call in the huddle. He got to be able to see a game plan and see the adjustments on the sideline. He got to be able to hear and work with the coaches that he's going to be going through this with. He got to be able to work with the players on the field when they make adjustments. All these things, when he gets back in 6 weeks, have to be worked on before he gets there. Because look, we all think we know what the record should be after 6 weeks, but we don't know. And when Deshaun Watson gets back, it might be, it's time to go. We ain't got time to be warming up. So he needs to get some work. He needs to get just a feel for the tempo of the game, just the tempo of plays and play calls and adjustments and checks and stuff like that. Now, the thing that's going to hinder him, it's not playing that's going to hinder him. What's going to hinder him is that you don't show all your stuff in the preseason. So the offense that he's going to be running is going to be relatively vanilla. You see what I mean? It's not game planning for anything. It's not anything like that. So what I would like to see is that third preseason game, him playing the whole first half, making adjustments, coming out for a series in the second half.
Right.
Because that's also something that you're going to have to work on during the course of the season that he's not going to get an opportunity to work on.
So, Leroy, you do know that in the third preseason game, which is the final one, a lot of the starters don't even play. So you willing to put him out there with the backup, with the two line?
Put him up. Dude, I played 5 preseason games, and the last game was considered the dress rehearsal. Why all of a sudden it changed? Ain't no more people getting hurt than ever. It's like pitching in baseball. Back in the day, them guys used to throw 130 pitches an inning, and they were great. Now all of a sudden, the guy throw 80 pitches. Everybody on the bench start panicking. Oh my goodness, he reaching his number. They making 10 times the amount of money and throwing half the pitches.
Yo.
Let's go.
That's old school right there. Tell him, Leroy, that's old school right there.
What you want? Like it's football.
What you mean you hurt today? You hurt.
I gotta ask you this question.
I guess
about
Leroy doesn't believe in maintenance days in the NBA. Sorry, G.
No
Go
maintenance days. I want to ask you a question about these. There's 4 or 5 receivers hurt, right? And they're not going to be getting the reps. When I was sitting there, I've been on the page on the forefront of telling them they need to go get another receiver. But I'm gonna actually kind of rechange this a little bit. My thought process was this: I'm actually happy. Not happy that anybody is injured. I'm happy for one thing. I don't believe the organization. I don't believe the coach, and I don't believe the fans understand just how dynamic Kareem Hunt is. I wish all of them receivers don't get no touches, just so we could get to the point where Kareem Hunt is going to be a focal point of the offense. He's going to have to come up with something creative for him. And this is my thing. If you need to be able to adapt to what you got best. And the thing that works best that I look at is you got all running backs that can run the ball, all running backs that can catch the football. Now this is going to say, Kevin Stefanski, you got a stud on the bench and you using him like a platoon guy. He ain't no that's a bona fide starter over there, and you ain't getting him involved. I'm actually happy. I think they need to find out and figure out what Kareem Hunt is really about.
Here's what you need to do though. One of the reasons why you got to be careful with that is every time you go on the field as an offense, you need to put pressure on each level of the defense. Okay? And if you do that, it allows guys like Kareem Hunt to do his thing underneath. It allows guys like Nick Chubb to do his thing underneath and isolate those linebackers. It allows a guy like David Njoku to be one-on-one with somebody who he's more physically dominant than. And so from that standpoint, you're always going to need somebody outside to stretch the field. Now, if you can do that and you can find ways to put pressure on every level of a defense, okay, then you'll be fine. But in the end, you're going to need those wideouts to make plays down the field to give the threat that we can go down the field. If they're not scared of who you got going down the field, you watch how close they get to the line of scrimmage. They start creeping down. I played with this. It start creeping down. I tell you what, when I was in Minnesota and I played with Randy Moss, Jake Reed, and Chris Carter, man, it felt naked in the box. It was naked.
Is there a breeze in here? Is there a breeze?
Yeah. I'm like, it's 3rd and 1, and I could count the amount of people in the box on one hand because they was terrified of what could happen to them down the field. So you got to give the appearance that you're going to put pressure on every level of the field so that those individuals who are dominant, those individuals who can make plays have the ability to do so. But that's all you want to do. You want to isolate guys. You want to isolate players or either running backs to get isolated on linebackers, tight ends to get isolated on linebackers. You got, come on. Look, I don't want to talk bad about that school down south.
Whoa.
But every now and then a wideout come across Eli Apple.
Man, listen, hey, no.
Hold on. Back up,
I'm
son.
not going for
Back
it.
up, son.
There will be no Ohio State slander on this
Back
show.
up, son.
Ever. Hey, stop it. Don't do that. Do not do that.
Hey.
Stop.
By the way, for the record,
no, I don't
Eli
wanna
Apple
hear.
played pretty well overall.
Thank you. Leave
he
it at that.
actually
I don't need no
improved
buts.
last year.
I don't need no buts. He played well overall. Stop it right
He
there.
had a decent season.
Mikey McNuggets, please ask your question.
We can go pound for pound, stripe for stripe,
Don't
Ann
do
Arbor.
that.
Let's start. Where do you want us to
The
begin?
disrespect. Oh, my
Hey,
goodness.
Leroy.
How many
Hey,
teams has he
Leroy.
played for?
What they got to do with
Hey, the
it?
Bengals
just
brought him
picked
back
up-
again.
Is he actively employed? That's the question.
Hey,
Oh yeah, no. I'm not. Look,
That's all that
look.
matters.
If you in the NFL, you amongst the elite.
Thank you.
He started for a team that went to the Super Bowl.
He's
so
still starting there. So, Mikey, what you got?
I wish he wasn't, but
Look at his face.
That was listen, that was
ain't going
that was
there.
cold. That was cold though, man. See, Tyvis, you gotta have him come up with some names, bro. He name dropped your boy.
I
He got
ain't
him
going for it.
out the books. You gotta come with a roster full of
G,
Michigan guys.
we've
You
been
gotta
just
come
holding.
back.
I'm more classy than that.
We've been holding. No, G, we've been
I'm more
holding our
Let me tell you.
over
Let me
here.
tell you the
I'm holding our
backstory.
powder
Let me
over
tell you
here.
the
I don't stoop that
backstory
low.
on Eli Apple.
I ain't
Here's
gotta
the
stoop that
deal.
low.
Hold on. I'm gonna tell you the story as to why I said Eli Apple. Because he played in New Orleans, and he was talking about New Orleans all bad, right? He said something. He sent a tweet out. He's all like, the food ain't that good, the city ain't that good, or whatever. He
guy
said the
shouldn't
fans
do that.
didn't like me, and so I replied. I never replied, and I replied. I said, perhaps you would have enjoyed the food better if you had played better, right? Because look, he's had his problems. He had his issues in the secondary.
Yeah.
Let's be clear.
He has.
So that's how it started. So that's why I just threw the little Eli Apple out.
You just
All right.
you just
Mikey,
You know, Leroy,
he threw a little Ohio State
he
song
gonna
on the
watch this,
dodo.
Leroy. After he make a
Yeah.
play, he gonna tweet you.
Mikey's got the last
okay.
question, then we'll wrap up with Leroy. Go ahead, Mike.
Leroy, when do you start to get worried about all these preseason injuries, especially in camp and the non-contact ones? It seems like the Browns are getting hit hard early by the injury bug.
Like the 4-box.
Hey, like,
Dropping
you know how
like
many
flies.
times I say, "Oh, Bill, Miami, I got to miss 2 days." Oh, Miami, come on, it's camp. It's camp. When guys start getting that feeling when it start getting close to September, or when you get to put that uniform on, when you get to put that uniform on with your name in the back and you get to go into the stadium, watch how healthy guys get. It's something about game day, right? It's something about game time. That's in any sport. Practice sucked. I ain't gonna lie. I hated practice. But guess what? If it meant I had to put in a couple of days to get to Sunday, you got my attention. So as soon as they start playing them games, as soon as they start competing, don't worry, they'll be fine. They'll be fine. You know what they probably say here? Let me tell you how many times. G. Bush, if you go out there and you start asking them questions, he said, well, this is what they're going to say. If the game was on Sunday, I'd probably be able to play.
If it was Sunday, I'll be ready to go.
That's a good one. That's exactly what we gonna say.
You know you gonna hear it. You gonna hear it. You gonna hear
We
it.
play the
That's
game. I
true.
play today. Yeah,
That's true.
Man, I'm telling you what. Look,
Yeah.
check this out. We played and you know, you always fly to the game the day before the game, right? For some reason, we played Indianapolis on a Thursday or Friday, and Bill said, it's camp. We just gonna fly out there the morning of the game. So we flew out the morning of the game, right? Went to the hotel and took a nap, and then went and played the damn football game, right?
That's
Now,
What?
my big ass was playing gunner, right? I played gunner.
really.
Yeah.
You got
That's
down the
terrible.
field like that?
Yes, sir.
terrible.
You could beat the
Listen, man,
Vikes.
look. Listen, I remember one time Bill
Oh, I gotta
came
pull
to me
some
and said,
film up.
I wasn't really playing at the time, and Bill came to me and said, "Hey, you think you?" And I said, "Yes." He said, "You don't even know what I say," but I said, "But I need to get on the field. We'll figure it out when I get out there."
I need to see. You got.
I didn't know it was gunner,
I need to see
so I ended
this.
up playing gunner. I'm running down. Woo! I'm running down. I'm
Yeah.
fucking with twins. I say, "Woo!" I said, "Woo!" Miami, because you know I ain't used to run. I ain't used to run it all out. Right? I get to the sideline. I use that line. I say, "Bill, if it was game day, I could probably finish the game. But, you know, hey, we got to be careful with this one." Went and sat on the sideline. Hey, man, you do what you got to do.
Did you make the tackle? That's what I. Did you force him to the sideline or make the tackle?
So look. So one preseason, we were playing Atlanta. And,
Yeah.
they put the two little guys out there. I got these big-ass shoulder pads. I'm trying to shake them with the shoulder pads. I'm running down the field, and I'm getting free, right? So the play over, the guy fair catch, boom, boom, boom. Little guys keep hitting me. Boom, boom, boom. They kept hitting me. I said, hey, man, y'all got one more time for that, and then it's going to be problems. Punt again. Boom, boom, boom. They hit me again. So the third time I was playing gunner, I got in the three-point stands like old school, right? And they say, oh, big fella mad. I say, I don't know which one of y'all I'm going to get, but one of y'all about to get got, right? And I went after the one guy, and we had a melee on the field. And Bill said, we don't need this. You need to do your job and contain. I say, well, guess what? I use my line again.
Yeah.
If it was game day, I would have took care of my business. But it's preseason. I got to make my point.
Leroy, great stories as always. We appreciate it, man. We'll talk to you next week, all right?
All right,
buddy.
man.
All right, Leroy. My boy.
Great to chat with Leroy as always. He's always got good stories.
Michigan man.
He's got funny